Hi guys, hi. Sorry I'm late. Um, uh, can you guys hear me all right? Okay, thanks Malikarjun. Okay, so the topic of today's discussion is basically IPO basis, and I just wanted to do the session where you can come uh, where I wanted to show from the beginning to end how one can go about finding a good IPO based breakout. So basically how you start is uh, you basically run a scanner which will only show you stocks which has been recently listed in and this will only work in NSE. Okay, so and I'll share the scanner later. So you have IPO 5 years, and this will give you 411 stocks. So that means that 411 of these got listed within last 5 years. So that will be too long for us today. So let's say 1.5 years, which would be around 18 months. Okay. So if you run this, then you will see that you have 133 stocks. Okay. So and even better if you want some names which are less than 50, less than 100 rupees, those things also you can then uh, uh, you can filter out, and things which do not have high volume also you can filter out. So this is how you can then get your stocks. Okay, so you copy this, and oh, I don't have any trading view. So once you have this, you then go and paste it in a watch list. Let's go through, like, one by one or alphabetically. Okay, and you can either use daily or even weekly time frame. So uh, so we'll just flag the ones which are good looking. Okay, and see, there are IPO bases are little tricky, not so much. So there are two spots, or let's say pivots, which we are going to look to. One is obviously the high of the pivot, or the sort of the all-time high after after the stock has been listed, and the second would be any kind of a pattern or a base, right? So in this case, so that would be the second one. So in this case, this would be the IPO high, and this breakout would be a point where one can make an entry. Okay. um, so basically the best ones we will flag it, and we will then see. So although this is not a IPO base, but this is also a very nice setup right now. This is basically an ascending channel reversal setup. This is also really good. PTC Industries, not so great, not so great. Too many lines. Okay, this looks interesting, although this hasn't set up yet fully. Fuck this. So basically, why I wanted to do this is because IPO based breakout is actually one of the most lucrative setups to trade, and this is not something new or something which um, I conjured up. The IPOs have been basically young stocks have been traders. Many traders love young stocks, and this has been going on from Livermore days. More recently, this guy Jesse Stein also picked up on this in saying that why young stocks are preferred. A lot of names traders in the Indian from the Twitter circuit are also very actively traders who basically mostly focus on the IPO basis. So, for example, Dhanesh Giani is someone who is very actively chooses to only mostly trade this IPO based breakouts, right? So that's why also and basically it's very lucrative, almost as lucrative as trading flags and stuff like that. So I wanted to show like a system where you can make sure that you sort of don't miss it. So every week, if you just go through the go through the IPO based breakout scanner, you will you will then know that okay, which are the names which are setting up. So for example, this guy would have been a great name to trade when this was breaking out from this day. And this is the kind of move it sort of gives you. uh I mean, you can still put it in the watch list. Ikeo Lightning, this guy is setting up now. This guy is very close to reversal because it's clearly written in the price action why this guy is going to reverse, right? And so that could be one another. So Inox Green Energy, I don't know if this is a newly listed in NSE or is actually a IPO base, but it looks really interesting, right? Um, See hospitals, this guy and Yatharth and Kanye. These guys. I mean, as soon as they listed, they have set up really well and um yeah, this was a very nice IPO based breakout. Nobody could have imagined. Probably the financial the fundamental guys could have had some idea, but like I said, like you see all the names, most of the names, like 80% of the names if you see which have done well are like IPO based breakouts from here. There are very few only you will see that okay, as soon as they sort of got listed, they did not do well, right? This guy also has been doing well. Okay, okay. Not so much. I mean, this guy is setting up now. Setting up now. It hasn't set up yet fully, but setting up. This guy is also like this was the IPO based breakout on this day. Um, so few minutes more, and then we will again go through the list. Okay. Medico Remedies. This guy did really well after the IPO based breakout. So basically, like I said, one is like a pattern, and one is the obvious high after the IPO listing, right? So this is an obvious point to get in, basically. Okay, and we will see very nice examples of that. Uh, this guy is also now getting ready, and basically any breakout of this sort of downtrend line, plus also it has a higher low. So if you guys read my article today, this is like something really well, it's really good. um, and you can see that some of the stocks will actually form a base, but some of them which everyone sort of possibly love will go on directly on a trend without even like making a big base. So you'll see also examples of such names. NMDC Steel, this guy was also a very nice IPO base. You see, chuk chuk chuk, and then another. So it'll probably form another base, and right now it's at the base of that base. Um, Paradip Phosphate. This is also, I don't know if this is. I mean, because I don't follow many of them fundamentally, so I always get confused. Is it actually a new stock, or is it something which is just been listed only in NSEs? That's why it's coming into the list. But anyways, we will just mark all of them. No idea what these guys do, but this is a base, IPO base. There is something wrong with my trading view. Lately, I've been trying a couple of other things after taking the premium. So this was an amazing IPO base here. And I also hold a couple of IPO based breakouts recently, because I hope that these guys, just like a lot of other names, for example Hariom Pipes, Rainbow, these guys, how they do, and in the hopes of getting something, I am also holding a couple of them, and I'll share that with you, and I'm pretty sure they will also come in the scan. What is this? Yeah, I mean, this is also good rate. Fucking hell, mate. Yeah. This is madness. So this is one name which I actually traded the IPO based breakout, entered on this day, and then did not sell this in this sell off. And again, trying, this guy is like trying to do well now. Or this guy was in our radar. Um, why is Geo Financials not coming in my list here? Not sure. But all the other names which I was looking forward has come, you know. Okay, so after a quick glance, we have so basically this Neela are are basically should be your top picks. Why? Because I will now explain. You know, like what is the thing which we are looking. So as soon as the stock so there are essentially 2 points wherein you can, you know, attack an IPO an IPO name. One is basically listing day high breakout, right? And the second is like obviously if there is any base formation, that base breakout. So these are the two places where one can attack. The listing day high is this, and after that, the there was a very small base formation, and the day that that high gets taken out, this is your entry, right? Most of the time it like goes up and then sort of bases again. um, uh, but you can also see there are other kind of structures formation, which is basically the second one here, which is after it breaks out of the listing day high, it again comes back and retests that area, and then any sort of tight formation here will present you another area from where you can, you know, trade that. So for example, right now, if this guy breaks out from this pivot high, that will be another entry point for you. Okay, and again, the kind of the price action reading will be same like how you read a general price action. You must find more accumulation than distribution as soon as that name has been listed, and that will basically show you that hey, big money is interested in buying this, right? Buying more. So after a couple of days of non-activity, this 3 days basically showed you that it probably like more people are interested, big money is interested. So these are basically 2 points, and always that this breakout is very lucrative, like, you know. So in this case again, this is the base breakout. Unfortunately, the base breakout did not have a great follow through. It sort of like, yeah, 15% or so, but after that is again now forming a very nice constructive pattern, which is basically, this essentially is basically imagine like the topmost cup and handle part, and you can also imagine this like a flag, right? So there's the pole, and then now we are the mast is building, and you see very clean VCP pattern here. And this is another place where one can, you know, where one can make an entry, and various kinds of entries are possible here. This is one of the the DTL breakout would be one of the best places to buy. Just make sure that you have a higher low here. I mean, DTL breakouts could be of two kinds. One is where you don't have a higher low, which is like, for example, like this. And if this guy is breaking out, we have the low, which is lower than the previous high. And in that case, the probability that it'll again now come back, make a higher low, and then breakout is higher. Whereas in cases like this, where you already have a higher low, then the trend reversal probability is more, right? So this is another nice one. ATL, couple of people in the group, HPA probably traded this, and this was a very valid entry point here. You got a pivot here. This is like a false breakout, yeah, premature breakout, and then you got a inverse head and shoulder, right? And inverse head and shoulders are basically reversal bet. A couple of guys entered here, and this was also a valid entry because this is basically uh, uh, an a different variation of the abut entry, which is anticipation at sort of the third T, one T, second T, third T, let's say. And this was a valid IPO base breakout entry, albeit it's not the only base breakout, but definitely a cheat slash low cheat kind of a breakout. So, and you can see that volumes are building up, which means people really like this. And if it doesn't like shoot up to the moon, but you can see at least till the previous high, that's the place. Avalon is another name which is now setting up again. This was essentially the IPO based breakout here, and huge follow through, and results did this huge breakdown. I also got caught, and then now it's been setting up really nicely, and so this is a cheat pivot here, and you can also call this like a flag in a smaller time frame, right? So this is the pole T1, T2, and if you want sort of an early entry, you can also put a 601k upper. That would be your GTT के लिए, and 7% sort of a stop loss. So this is another really a nice name. Bilal, I like this guy. I don't know what this guy does, but definitely a pivot in making. So this would be the more clearer pivot. Yeah, sign DLM. This was again a great entry. So right after a stock lists these kind of activity, huge buying in couple of days, definitely this is not you and me, okay? This is not you and me entering the stock. This is people who have done their fundamental research, knows the the stock, and they are buying. And after that, very nice setup, 1T, 2T, and if not this day, this was a clean entry. And this was also, like I said, the breakout of the first kind of breakout. So essentially, the first pivot high after the stock has been listed, uska breakout is the way to trade. The most straightforward way to trade a breakout. Sorry, the IPO based breakout, right? So this guy is another name. I don't know exactly what this guy does, but like I said, see how this base has been forming, right? So this is the first T, 49%, second T, 19%, third T has been around about 13%, and then it's getting right now very tight, and like this is too good, man. Also probably because this guy sugar wooger ka bhi chakkar hai, to probably a very good time to bring this in our focus. So this is a clean pivot. This is a clean pivot, and you can see that in here itself you have one contraction. This is the second contraction possibly, and then right now we are having sort of the third contraction in this space, which is below 10%. Now anything which undergoes a contraction which is below 10% has a relative strength shown up. That has to be in your watch list, and if you are someone who trades IPO, this should go in your watch list, right? Dharamraj Crop Guard Limited. So see, there was an early entry, and the early entry was here. Now, how this above this is basically your trend change. Okay, simple. हमें ज़्यादा सोचने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. We just count the higher highs and higher lows and see what how does it look like. So this is the low. This low is still a lower low than the previous one, right? So but what we have right now is a higher high. Okay, so and then we've got a higher low. So once we got one set of HHHL, which is higher high higher low, or a higher low higher high, then we know that okay, the stock has now shown us the first signs that there is a trend change, there is a change of character, and then this guy is now looking serious. And once that high breaks out, that is your, as a breakout trader, that's the point where you enter. And that point was basically when this gap up happened. Okay, this probably is also an earnings gap, and that would have been your entry. And now this is not just now an IPO based breakout, but you also have to manage this trade like a gap trading, right? um, and after that there's not much follow through. This guy has now based for some time and looks ripe for another leg, and there was a very clear resistance here, which is basically the previous resistance now turning support. And any sort of breakout above this high, any sort of close above this high, is another point of entry, valid point of entry. DJ, media, print, and logistics, this would be this would be your actual base breakout, any close above this. But right now what we can see is we can anticipate that we are around the base of the bigger second T, right? So this is the first T of the base, this is the second T of the base, and right now there is a volatility contraction. And once this bounce happens, and possibly going forward we might find a third T or so. But the mere fact that it has bounced from the second T could also be tradable. And let's say if you if we get a lower high, so right now we still have in grand scheme of things, we still have a high, have a low which is similar to the previous low. And if we get a lower high here and then it breaks out, then it still gives you a, a target of around, or a possible target of around 20 to 25%. So that is another way. And this is this is the best kind of this one which I like, because at the beginning there are still some reservations that okay, this IPO based breakout will get give us a follow through or not. But once follow through happens and then a base happens, and we've also seen a lot of other names which have done this, like Sign DLM probably, um, and Zimlab. So this is another, this is obviously not an IPO base, but this is a very nice continuation of the IPO based breakout, right? And this also falls under the setup which I like the most, which is basically a high tide flag or a flag setup. And this is really nice, right? So this is the flag setup, and then after that what we have is we have a 2T flag, excuse me. And 25%, below 25%, around 20 to 25% is a very decent correction. And not just that, you can see that during the correction the volume pattern is beyond beyond great, right? And 2 days ago, yesterday, or yeah, Friday, we also had a DTL breakout. And this DTL breakout, this is what I'm trying to say by DTL breakout which is tradable, is a DTL breakout which has already a higher low, right? So the moment that breaks out, and the moment the previous swing high is taken out, that is another entry for you. Now it could be that this we will break out of this pivot on Monday or wherever, whenever. It could also happen that we get another contraction, and that is though an unmissable entry, right? So yeah, you see, where was the obvious point of entry? Was this guy, Global Surfaces Limited, right? So this was the obvious point of entry, and after that this is now sort of formed a flat base, kind of a base. Now now how do you know this guy is tradable? Because when the base formation happens and the base now starts to get complete, when the base moves from left to right, then the volume pattern clearly tells you that, hey, a change of character is coming, which means that now base say uptrend is probably coming, and that was visible from this point onwards, wherein we had some green candles, and after that again this last last week of September, we have a lot of green candles. Now from a trend standpoint, where is our pivot, which is basically unmissable pivot would be this, wherein you have the absolute high, then another touch, uh, but this could also have been another sort of an entry, which is a very tight area here. But again, this is the better entry, because sometimes even if you get why is this not a great entry, although it's a fair entry, is because, see, what we want to trade is this breakout of the absolute base, because then the probability of getting a longer follow through or a longer kind of a move is very high, right? So now you see, if I get an early entry, how much am I getting? Like, I'm getting a 10% discount. So is 10% worth it, right? So had this early entry been like 20% or 25% below the actual base breakout, then would have been makes much more sense, because you still now have a 25% better entry, right? So maybe you we could have this entry could have been avoided, but the main base breakout is still on. See, this is what I was saying. So this is a third kind of this is a third kind of move, which basically does not make a base, does not go out also, but it sort of already picks up a trend. Okay, and in that case, you basically try to find which is the ascending channel which the guy is taking. And in my opinion, in this cases, the best entry is when the price is coming down and bouncing off from the channel support. uh, this is another a good IPO base. Now I don't see much volumes. I don't see much volumes. I mean, I don't see that because the first day was pretty brutal with high volumes. But the moment this DTL based breakout happens, because we know that there is a contraction, which means that the zones of supply and demand is continuously shrinking, and once it shrinks, once it shows that, okay, now demand is bhari over supply, that is the obvious point of entry. And how this could look like, I'm going to show you. uh, what's the Uday Shankar, yeah. So Uday Shankar, it could look like Uday Shankar, right? So this is what I'm trying to say. Albeit the base right now on which one, NetWeb, right? It's a little more. It has a little higher slope, but again, they are very similar. They are very similar in their IPO based structures. Um, yeah, so this was the IPO base breakout. After that, it went up and then decided to form a big base. And this is increasingly looking really good. Uh, so so the absolute high was this breakout, but it sort of did not give us much follow through. But now, if this again there is a subtle level of in my opinion, there is there is some sort of volatility contraction happening here. And any contraction below or 13%, and then again one more round of contraction, we can have a pivot like this and say that if it sort of closes above this line, which is the line of resistance, then it'll be clear that Paradip phosphate now will sort of continue the upward trend. It could look like another bigger longer base here, because this is how it looks like, and it'll be like a flag kind of a structure there. Again, this is very similar to one another structure we got, which is basically after the IPO based breakout, and then it makes like a flag, right? So Paradip is also making something like this, but the base of Paradip is big, and always go for a bigger base breakout. Like if I give you two identical, or let's say similar setup, and one has a longer base, uh, I would always trade the one with the longer base. Pondy oxide. This is peak, right? And also has a little bit of a fundamental tailwind, I suppose, because this is from what sector is this? This is from, I believe this is, yeah, recycling, right? So I think really recycling is going to make some noise now. It'll be more clear in days to come. But again, like with a really good base, if you also are getting some fundamental tailwinds, like for example, like I didn't know that names like Sirma, names like Kanye, those names had a lot of fundamental tailwinds behind them. Had I known that, I would probably definitely get on those. But now, since I'm learning a little bit of fundamental tailwind, this that, I think this will also make me a better trader, and hopefully I will not miss those kind of once in a lifetime, I mean not once in a lifetime, but still a really great opportunities, right? Yeah, so this is another very nice IPO base, right? You can see T1, T2, T3, and anything beyond T3 is really good for me. I think the sort of probability is in the range of like 70-80% or so. A base sort of breaks out after 3T, right? So this is really nice again. So again, this guy, I don't know what it does, but this anything which has this cash management or some money related, those guys are again making noises, right? So then if this guy sort of breaks out, and again, uh, there are a lot of ways to trade things like this. People who trade range will have an entry now when this guy breaks out of this DTL line. So honestly, man, like there are so many different ways to trade stuff. Do not go always by the book. This is the pivot Rama phosphate, and again, like I'm hearing good things from the about the fertilizer sector. I don't understand fundamentals again, but like if there are tailwinds, and these are the names where people will park their money, because these are young names, young blood will have a lot of wind behind them. Again, this guy, this ये precision which is a नाम सुन के ही लगता है कि भागेगा, मतलब and so again, where would you find the entry point here? Right now it's not set up yet, but definitely the pivot is this, in the sense इसके ऊपर चला गया तो we will have a new high which is a higher high, right? If before this high we already have a higher low, then that is a valid entry point. If not, then once that happens, then the next low which happens, uska bounce pe, that is another valid entry point, because then we'll know that we have a higher high, we have a higher low, and then that trend is now about to continue. So that kind of entry you can make. Red tape, this is a name which you will find a lot on Twitter, and the valid entry point here was this, above this pivot. Kyun? Because above this pivot we have a new high, which is a higher high than this, which is already a lower high, sorry, higher low. So higher high, next higher low, that's a continuation of the uptrend. That also would have been sort of a DTL based breakout. So if you join this last couple of 3-4 pivot highs, this is the day when it sort of peaked above the base, and obviously the obvious highs would be this, right? So this is still a very nice play. Let's say on Monday it comes and makes breaks out, that would be another entry. If it doesn't break, comes here and makes a tight structure, that is that is another entry which is even peak than these kind of entries, right? So another name, Rishabh. So this is again anything which lists and then forms a tight structure is something which you need to have as someone who trades IPO. You need to have that in your watch list, and then this day would have been your entry day. Then you get a follow through. Then you after breakout, what happens generally 80% 60% of the time, that breakout zone is being tested. This was the retest. Always make sure the retest is happening in low volumes, which means that this is just like देख रहा हूँ है कि नहीं कुछ मछली और उधर, basically supply testing here. And then it then again bounces back. So this yeah, yesterday, I mean last Friday was another entry wherein you had the previous high broken out. So this is basically a continuation based breakout entry. This guy is setting up again something like finance अभी चलने लगा है ये, finance. So you will see a lot of NBFCs वगैरह वगैरह, and this possibly now has given us a breakout, but again it did not close. So, and also you see that we still do not have a higher high, right? So अगर higher high होता तो this could have been an entry. This is one of the nearest entry जिस पे आपको मिल रहा है. So now if we now on Monday morning or whenever we have a close above this line, that is clearly showing that hey, this base breakout, the DTL breakout has occurred. But I wouldn't trade that because I don't have the lower low yet, sorry, higher low yet. But what I will hope here is so where is the actual pivot, the this is the pivot, right? So iske upar we will have a new high. The hope would be that we will get something like this, and this would be the area where I would hunt for an entry here. Senko again, you see Senko में देखो ये यहाँ पे this was a low which was higher than the previous low, right? So this was a very great breakout entry. We found we saw this breaking out, but because the market conditions were not so great, 12th, I think 12th was the day when this kind of thing happened. But yeah, like imagine this on such a bad day also, this guy had such a good candle, so that could have been an indication for us that probably this guy is a little serious about things. But again, those things are bygones. Those things are bygones, and we'll probably learn more from this sort of an observation. And again, even after breakout, it gave you such a nice 2 days ka wo. And on this day would have been another entry, because that is the day when it sort of closed above this very high big candle, and another entry is now again forming. So this is still tradable in my opinion. Even so this is now a nice flag. If this flag forms a better mast which is more tight, then definitely something which should be in everyone's radar. Silver touch, don't know what this guy does. Tech, yeah, tech is again basically trying to make some noise now last couple of days, and this is actually really nice this one. So this would be a flag, right? And any close above this, any close, okay, hopefully the day that breaks out we don't have a very long candle or a very big expansion candle, because then a lot of the then the entry point becomes a little stretched from the peak entry point. Hopefully if it's a smaller entry, then even by the day end close, if you go through the IPO list, then you will find that kind of breakout. And if you're a little bit sure about the company, the fundamental guys around here, then if you want to catch this, you basically need to set up a GTT or 0.5 or 1% above the actual high here, so which is basically 649.2. 0.5 to 1% ऊपर लगा लो, and you will be comfortably in. Traction Technologies, I hear a lot of name of these companies from my fundamental guys, and this is setting up really well. And how it looks like, in my opinion, that it would probably look like an inverse head and shoulder base, and this is a legit base. a lot of other names also you will see this kind of base formation. So this is the right left shoulder, head, right shoulder, and right shoulder का base पे है अभी. And it is actually I mean one can trade a breakout of this area, um, this area, because once it goes above this, that would be a reversal in a smaller time frame, right? So yeah. And obviously the actual base breakout will happen here, but this is a lucrative cheat entry, because why lucrative is that you still have like a 19 to 19-20% kind of a move till it goes to the main entry. So that is why there's a little bit of lucrative factor in there. This base might also take some time to even develop now, and if this again looks like uh, uh, an inverse head and shoulder, then it would be like a sone pe suhaga. This would be an example where the the right shoulder looks like an the right shoulder of an inverse head and shoulder looks like an inverse head and shoulder. This is basically the fractality of the markets, man. Yeah, this is another name. Again, this is setup I really like. Basically, after the base breakout, now has been flagging. So flags which are just below or above your your uh, your your supply or resistance zones, ट्रेंड लाइंस के जस्ट ऊपर एंड ट्रेंड लाइन के जस्ट नीचे वाला जो फ्लैग है ना, दे आर रियली हाई क्वालिटी फ्लैग्स मैन, लाइक रियली हाई क्वालिटी फ्लैग्स. And yeah, I'm almost 90% certain that this guy's gonna break out. Yeah, so very nice IPO base. Tupac Finance, this is another base, and you have a clear zone of supply here, and looks like now we are about to break out. And how? Yeah, after this huge climax selling, we now have green shoots appearing. And if you're not very sure, just put a line before the previous high. The day it closes above, that is your cue. You can get in, sometimes when the resistances are not clear, that is how one can go about it. USK, I've already told you, this is something which I've traded, and basically how I traded this was when this was happening, okay? When this was happening, then already this looked like such a great base, and if we go one by one, we had this chota sa day when we had this high. And because I now already anticipated ki something like this will go on and go on, and this will eventually break out today or tomorrow. And this was basically an early anticipation of the base breakout. So what I had was, I had a GTT right above this 31.4 या 3 और या 2 पे मेरा आई थिंक वो था जस्ट अबव दिस. So इसका high 31.3, probably 31.4 was where I had put the GTT. Couple of guys also from the group also, and then there was a fake breakout or a failed attempt to go up, which happened on this day. The GTD triggered, and we were in the trade, but it sort of squatted, and then bang bang. Couple of days we waited, and then see, this day would have been an early entry, because we knew that this guy, and if you go and look at a lower time frame, this was actually a fourth contraction. This was contraction 1, contraction 2, contraction 3, and fourth contraction. Okay, so I will show you how that was a fourth contraction. So if you go to a 30-minute time frame here, if you see, this was third contraction, and you had the fourth contraction here and a tight area. And on this candle early morning, that would have been a clean entry, which would be like the main IPO based breakout entry in here, around 33 rupees or so. and just see like the kind of follow through it gave, almost 33% in a couple of days, man. This is the beauty of IPO based breakout. um, so very lucrative way to trade in the markets. No, no, no. This we did not know. Yeah, we did not know that this was peak, and we don't know that. But just showing you that this kind of moves can happen uh, very fast right after the breakout. Like, at least 50% of the names sort of go on and give you that kind of returns. That is the point I'm trying to make. And the thing is, once you have, see, as a swing trader, generally the point where you take your profit should depend on the kind of risk you are putting in your trade. So, for example, in this case, my risk was basically this low, hmm? This low, because we had a clear resistance, one, two, three touches. So I mean, it's basically more the certainty, the probability that this guy will not do this is high. So once we had gotten our orders filled here, then this was the sort of 7% was sort of our risk. Now, any trade that gives you three times your reward, which is three times your risk, in this case 20-21%, there you, as a swing trader, you should decide to de-risk yourself, uh, or uh, or pocket some of the gains so that you don't give back that, right? So ample time you had to do that. Now we are no, we are never sure that this will go to 20% or 30% or 40% or 50%, but following a rule based system where you take profits, where you de-risk your positions, and then follow and then trail the remaining positions as long as the trend remains, that is a good enough strategy which will work very well in your favor in the long run. Like if you do like 100 trades, that strategy would emerge victorious against any other trade. So that's the point. And yeah, and yeah, I'm still holding this, and it's a decent size also. Yatharth Hospital, another really nice IPO base, and it is it is gonna break out tomorrow or day after, or very soon. It will probably make a third T. Right now it is T1, T2, and it is actually broken out. Okay, so this would be the DTL, sort of three touches and then a closing above that level. This is sort of an early entry, right? um, yeah, our entry also triggered on yesterday, Friday, which is basically it crossed above the Bollinger bands, and that is a valid entry in our momentum burst style of trading. um, right. So, and you can also clearly see that after such a time of volume, मतलब कोई बेचने को तैयार ही नहीं है, मतलब यहाँ पे तो peoples will start now marking up. Really good name. So I will stop here. But again, there are so many other nice names. GHCL Textile is another one, which I'm keenly observing, because this is peak. माने peak के ऊपर भी कुछ है तो वो है ये. Prior uptrend, T1, huge T1, a medium size T2, even smaller T3. The T3 right now is giving you sub single digit uh, contraction, with volumes decreasing in subsequent contraction. मतलब और क्या चाहिए, right? So really nice. And they are all set up, like a lot of IPO names are set up, right? And sometimes what happens is, in the market, there comes some time when IPOs do not work, and that was clearly after the post COVID bull run had peaked. There was a time where many IPOs sort of did not work, But again, after March, IPO started to work, right? So then, if some of you are in the uh, to know that what time does IPO work or not, what you can simply do is follow this index, which is basically the IPO index. And the moment IPO index starts to outperform, that is the time you have to start looking at IPO names more aggressively. So this is the IPO index. During the post-COVID bull run, IPOs did clearly outperform the market, right? So like huge 221% from the COVID lows. And it was also evident because there are two phases where the IPO names did really well, and after that it sort of went in a downtrend. And uske baad what happened, we had a clean era of outperformance since May till I mean still it's outperforming. And we broken out of this base. um, and after that we are now making subsequent higher highs and higher lows. So right now IPO is the flavor. And the moment this guys start stopping, at that time we also should now take the pedal off the gas from IPO names, right? So this is a clear system. From this, you know when IPOs are working. From this, you know if IPO names are actually outperforming the market. Once they do, or once they start to do, start hunting for more IPO bases. Once they and how do you start hunting? You use the IPO scanner. And when do you stop looking for them aggressively? Is when these guys also start to do bad, or start to stop showing the outperformance. So yeah, that was the whole session today. uh, yeah, I spoke almost for an hour. If any of you guys have any questions, let's spend 5 more minutes, and then we'll get done. So why did we not? Why did we not? Yeah. So this guy has some volume filters in it. Probably that's why we did not catch this. Um, he, yeah, yeah. Volumes are also not so great. Uh, wow. Who's this? Hi, Lango. Thanks for the information. And if that's the case, brother, this looks not bad. So see, this is a very peculiar IPO base, right? We don't we once see after the this kind of a high that shoots up. Another one is once it shoots up and then form a base. This is a third kind of IPO move which happens. Is that it sort of takes the shape of uh, a shape uh, of a ascending channel. So one could imagine that this is found the base of the channel, and possibly to the highs of the channel here. Uh, we have a decent kind of touches 1, 2, 3, 4, and we might see a move like this. But again, we never know. The this would be a this would be a place would be a breakout above this, so we can probably have some resistance here, and even then we will have like a 20-25% of space, you know. And volumes in the recent times also looks good, but yeah, might not be so liquid for some of you guys. All right, folks. Devyani. Devyani, it's a great name. I love it. Also has the theme behind it. India superpower consumption and all those stuff, and that's why This is basically the second kind, whereas after the actual base breakout, which happened here, then it started to go on a huge base, right? And if and when this huge base breaks out, brother, this will make some splash. And the relative strength in the counter already shows that, that time could be very, very near. And just technically, one way to measure the the possible move is basically see how big was the base in terms of the length, deep, and that kind of move is definitely possible. So yeah, these and sapphire, which is the other name which I am looking. And and this is another really, really nice IPO base. And again, this I like better in terms of the shape of the base, because this is more pronounced. This tells me more that, hey, um, this is more constructive, because we have higher lows here, which means that the demand zone is increasing up and up and up. Previously they bought at 900, then they couldn't wait for it to go to 900, so they started buying from 1120, bought some more, and then now it'll be clear to the world that they are buying. Yeah, so both of these names I like really, really well. Yeah, yeah, that's really doing well. Yeah. AB money, AB money, AB Aditya Birla money. Yeah, so this is also sort of, so this is a huge base, right? uh, इसको मंथली पे देखते हैं. मंथली पे सालों से ये रेंज में पड़ा हुआ है, ठीक है. तो दिस इज व्हाट जनरली मीन्स बाय बिग बेस ब्रेकआउट. um, this is one way to look at it. You have a clearly defined resistance, one touch, two touch, third touch, and you have a semi-defined clearly defined support, semi-defined resistance, and then one can at least expect that it will go and test the previous resistance. So if that is the case, we have quite a lot of time and space for that to do that. And also you can see that relative strength has is coming back, and even in monthly level पे अगर relative strength आपको दिख रहा है and that relative strength is just starting to increase, then it tells more about it adds to the probability that that sort of a 100% gain which we are envisioning or imagining, which is backed by data, which is basically price and volume, has more uh, chance or probability. Or daily में तो already it is in an uptrend. And this would have been the the DTL base breakout, and this was a very tradable breakout, because you see the more number of touches you have in that resistance, that breakout is more significant, ठीक है. So like I said, any flag which happens above or below that kind of a resistance line is again a peak flag. So this was another peak flag, um, and this would have been another day to enter this 8% day. And then we have a we have a trending we have an uptrend here after that. So right now I don't know where one, because I'm very strict with my entries, कि मेरे को जहाँ भी नहीं घुसना है. लाइक मेरे को भगवान भी आके बता देगा कि भाई ये तगड़ा स्टॉक है, 10x होने वाला है, आई विल नॉट एंटर. if I don't have a good entry. Because I am not optimizing for abhi ke abhi profit. I'm optimizing for a process which will bode well for me, like for the next 10, 20, 30 years, till and when I am going to trade. So right now there is no entry for me. But when it sets up, and there could be a point where it will set up, and that point is the previous base ka O'Neill pivot. Something like this generally happens. Okay, generally happens. This what generally happens is that you get a tight area at the O'Neill pivot, and this will then look like your cup and handle, jacked cup and handle base. Sometimes what happens, it will not happen here, तो कहाँ पे होता है, ये जाने के बाद यहाँ पे होता है, above that. So that is another really nice place one can enter. So these are market structures which repeat over and over again. Hi Dabang Vibes, very nice name. All right, folks. If there are no more questions, thank you for joining, and I hope you have a great Sunday tomorrow. Bye. Yes, uh, yes, I really like it. It's helping me. There are, first of all, no ads. Then I can get a lot more indicators, more than three. And the best thing which abhi tak, then it also helps me add. So last one month, after like last September, I was miserable. My life was miserable because I could not scan very well, because they did not allow me to add stocks, right? And I was like, it's not worth it. So right now I'm able to scan more, scan better, and so I think it's worth it. And another thing I just did, ये वाला चीज़ बहुत बढ़िया लगा मेरे को, especially during the day. So what I generally like is, like, let's say I'll show you my watch list. So let's say I'm watching Atul Auto. I like to watch the 30-minute time frame as well. And so let's say I am looking to trade the breakout, and this will also be shown in a daily time frame, weekly, 30-minute time frame. And the 30-minute time frame is also it will add to my feedback live on the market. So this is something which I'm really liking in here. And man, Atul Auto is such a nice, such a beautiful setup. Yeah. So these are my high quality setups. High quality setups, always I keep them on top. Atul, MMTC, NBCC, HBL Power. I entered it. I did not get the fill, whole fill. I just got like 25% of my intended. This one. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah. TradingView is helping. Damang Vaish left. Did not even say hi. I will find this person, and I will make sure it doesn't enter my chat again. No, I'm just kidding. All right, guys. Uh, Bye then. See you around soon. You too, man. You too. You too. Bye. Good night.